All right, welcome back. Bank On It podcast, brand new location for episode 23. Shout out to LeBron James. I know this guy wants me to say shout out to Michael Jordan, but you know what?
Come on,
that's
23. Everybody knows 23 is Michael Jordan.
That's a discussion for another day. But welcome back. We're glad to have you guys. And first off, we want to thank our sponsors, Dr. Shane Hensley at Downtown Dental. Every athlete knows a smile builds confidence. Dr. Shane Hensley at Downtown Dental in Pikeville can help build confidence. Visit Dr. Hensley at 419 Town Mountain Road or call 606-433-1488. Score the perfect smile. Dr. Hensley performs all dental work and accepts most insurance.
We're also brought to you by Presbyterian Homes of Cedar Creek and Good Shepherd at Phelps. If you are looking for quality care for loved ones, look no further than Presbyterian Homes of Cedar Creek and Good Shepherd at Phelps. Both facilities treat your loved ones with care and respect. They offer therapy, daily activities, exquisite cuisine, and home-like settings to make your family members feel at home. Call to schedule an appointment today. At Cedar Creek, call Jessica Thacker at 432-8243. And at Good Shepherd, call 456-8725. Caring for your loved ones is what we do best.
And thank you to City Tire and Auto Center. Did you know City Tire and Auto Center has moved? Because indeed it has. It is now at 110 Freddie Lane, right off the South Mayo Trail, directly across from Pikeville Floral, or call 437-3005. Thank you again to those guys. And as you can see, we're in a brand new location. Well,
we got one more sponsor.
That's what I was getting ready to throw it to him.
We got one more new sponsor.
Mr. Josh Kesler.
Hi, everybody. Visit Pikeville. It's Pikeville City Tourism. You go to visitpikeville.com. You can download their app for Android and for iPhone. So definitely do that and check out everything that's going on in the city.
Yeah, which is a lot in the next, 3-4 weeks. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff coming up, including Hillbilly Days, which I know we're all looking forward to, but listen, I feel that too. Jumping right into the NCAA tournament, heartbreak for us. I mean, in my gut, I felt like Kentucky had that game really up until the first few minutes of overtime. Just something was telling me we were going to win that game. Well, I mean, listen, we had no answer for Bryce Brown and Jared Harper. Was that his name?
Harper and Brown,
Just absolutely destroyed us. I mean, we didn't get the points that we needed from Tyler Hero. I mean, I think he was still 7.6 rebounds, which, you know, we need more from him. P.J. Washington came out there, played a hell of a game, almost put up 30, but Cats come up short. And it's tough to beat any team three times in 1 year, let alone a good Auburn team.
You know, the thing about it, though, is you beat the team twice. The last time you beat them by 27.
Yeah,
we're playing well first half, playing really well. They start making adjustments. They get a little hot. We make no adjustments the rest of the game. That's what hurts. I mean, seeing that they're making adjustments, trying to do new stuff, and we're just doing the same thing.
Auburn was in foul trouble.
Yeah,
exactly.
Pretty much the whole second half, they're in foul trouble.
They were, but you know, you had to know. I can't stand Bruce Pearl, first of all. But you knew he'd have something for us this time. Maybe they were going to throw something completely different that we saw the time before when we absolutely blew their doors off. And they, you know, credit to them. Auburn's one of those teams we see every year start hitting their stride. They're the
hottest team right now in the country.
For sure.
Did you see the sweat off the man? I'm pretty sure he had to go to the hospital afterwards. I mean, he was
into that game. He was into the game, you know, from the moment it tipped. He puts everything he has, and you can see it. He cares about his players. He cares, but still, it's one of those games. As a Kentucky fan, you're like, that should be us going to the Final Four. I mean, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Auburn, they made their shots. Just kept switching on defense. They would come down one time. They would pick up full court. They go zone. They go back to man. I mean, they were doing stuff all the time. UK stayed in that man. They didn't do anything different. They were getting torched by the guards.
But would Kentucky wanted to wind up playing Virginia? Think about that.
I love our chances against Virginia, but it's just another one of those things where Auburn, you know, experienced guard play against inexperienced guard play. Our guys, you know, obviously kept us in it, but Jared Harper just went crazy in overtime, scored 12 points. We just had no answer for it.
Well, I mean, you know, for me watching it, and I don't want to just beat up on Tyler Hero, but when Harper got hot, Hero was the guy guarding. He couldn't stay in front of him. When Brown got hot, Hero was the guy guarding. He couldn't stay in front of him. So, I mean, to me, it was a bad day for that. You got to do something different. You got to go zone. If you go zone, maybe you can hide Tyler Hero, who can't stay in front of either one of those guys. Or if you go two point guards on them, maybe, but I mean, still, woulda, coulda, shoulda, like we said before.
We know Cal's not a big fan of going to the zone.
I mean, you know, he's stuck with a man his whole career. That's what he's known for. He's stubborn. It's worked for him. He's won a national title. But you see other teams, all the teams that are going to the Final Four this year, they all play multiple defenses.
Yeah, and they play really good defense.
Exactly.
And they switch it up based on who they're playing. I mean, Texas Tech's probably the biggest example of that, of just making adjustments on the fly and playing or adjusting their defense to who they're playing and making those in-game adjustments, which, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and you got to give credit to those guys. But, you know, before we move on to some of the other guys in the Final Four, I just want to say, you know, this Kentucky team, who knows who's coming back, who's staying. If they bring a few of these guys back, they're going to be primed next year for another big run.
Well, at this point, regardless, you know, you got to think P.J. Washington's gone, right?
He's the only one. He's the only one I see who's clear-cut gone.
I know, but a lot of times these guys can go to the combine now, and as long as they don't hire an agent, and
they
you
can
know,
come back.
I think Tyler Hero's going to get built up at the combine. I think he's
Keldon Johnson's got a shot because of his size, his athleticism. So
I mean, and then going into, you know, Michigan State upsetting Duke, a little bit of an upset, not a huge upset. I think a big upset.
Anytime Michigan State beats somebody, and we'll let Josh talk about Michigan State a little bit because we do a little bit of a bracket challenge, and somebody's going to win if Michigan State wins.
That's hope.
And that's you.
That's hope. Hey, I like Michigan State.
I love their chances. I think they're going to win it.
Yeah, I mean, going in, I mean, when you were filling it out, you were telling me you had a feeling Michigan State was going to get hot and get there. Kind of talk about why. I mean, that's one of those teams that got a little bit of everything.
You can't go against Izzo, man. He just pulls it out of his hat. He usually does. But what's really weird is for the first time in a while, you don't see a Kansas, a North Carolina, a Kentucky.
No blue blood.
You don't see Duke. You don't see. It's like, it's kind of exciting.
Out of this year's Final Four, 2 of them have never been before. Auburn has never been. Texas Tech never been.
Texas Tech is hot right now.
Texas hot. And when was the last time Virginia went? Calvin Sampson?
Well, the last several years they've been a 1 or 2 seed and got knocked out.
Well, last year they were the first number 1 team to get beat by 16. So they've kind of grown from that. I mean, that's what makes March Madness the most fun thing in sports, in my opinion.
Well, and if you're CBS, I mean, and a lot of these you know, the people who are putting on the event, I'm sure they were rooting for Duke, rooting for Kentucky. You know, that's going to bring the ratings in.
You got to.
A lot of what I'm hearing right now is people think this could be the lowest rated Final Four in the history of basketball, which, you know.
Because how many common fans know a whole lot about Texas Tech?
It's true.
None.
How many know about Auburn?
True.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Charles Barkley, the biggest Auburn fan there is. And
how
much does he know about Auburn? I mean, you know.
He knows a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, but some of the fans of this team, they besides the two guards, they don't really have a star power.
Yeah. Predictions. Who's in the championship game?
I like Michigan State and Virginia.
Yeah.
But I go for defense at this time.
I mean, I'm with him, but I don't put – listen, Auburn, as hot as they are.
I'm going to go Auburn, Michigan State.
I think Auburn's probably a good pick. I have no faith in Virginia. I've said that from day one, but they proved me wrong this year. So who knows? I mean, listen, I'm looking forward to it. I think true sports fans, like people who are investing in basketball, are looking forward to it. Just the general public, you know.
And how hard is this guy going to be cheering for Michigan State?
Biggest Sparty fan
all
right
day.
now.
Green all day.
Yeah, the biggest Sparty fan in Eastern Kentucky, at least.
It's going to happen.
Going on right now. So a lot of bragging rights going on in that, you know, our bracket challenge. So, and I guess, you know, we'll see what happens. I mean, by the time we record the next episode, it'll be NCAA championship night.
Yep.
So
we'll find out next week.
All right. So I guess we move into what, 15th region?
All A.
Yeah, 15th
baseball,
region All A baseball
starts today. I mean, you got all the kids. It's the early season. It's just like basketball. The early season, you get the chance to go to a state championship atmosphere.
Big deal.
I mean, if you're a boy, you get to go to play at Whitaker Park. Girls is usually in Owensboro or at J-Town. So, I mean, big stages. You get that early experience. But, I mean, it's the third week of the season. And you're already playing for a chance to go to the state championship. I mean, That is huge, but I mean it's so early. A lot of teams don't even really know what they got right now.
Yeah, and I'm assuming a lot of these local teams are getting these guys who are just finished up with basketball, going right into the baseball diamond. So, they've got a lot of practicing to do, a lot of coming together as a team to do. But it should be fun to see, and it'll be a great experience for some of these kids.
And people have been asking me who's the top teams around right now. I don't really know. I've not got to really get out and cover it. We've been doing
3 weeks.
We've been doing our all mountain stuff, so I didn't even really get to go out and cover a whole lot here the last couple of weeks. But from here on out, we'll be packed with baseball and softball. So just kind of look out for that. Check out the News Express, each edition. Check out the podcast. We'll have plenty of highlights and then all that stuff coming up. So our baseball and softball coverage will be right there real soon.
All right. So I guess the last thing we want to talk about is on Friday night, we had a huge event here at the East Kentucky Expo Center. And listen, the place was absolutely packed. It sounded to me like from the bowels of the Expo Center, everybody was having a great time, and it ended up being a great event.
It did. Actually wound up being the second best wrestling event that ever has happened at the East Kentucky Expo Center.
Wow.
Thank you, fans.
Yeah, wow. Everybody who came out, I've heard nothing but good things from everybody who came out that night, and everybody seemed to have a great time, including you.
Yeah, and thanks to one Mr. Josh Kesler, Corey and I had probably the best seats in the house. So we got to see the action right up close and personal. We're going to have plenty of photos in the News Express this week. Watch this episode. We'll have plenty of the photos up on a slideshow. Just such a fun time and so close to Wrestlemania. That's what we were expecting, Josh.
I got to tell them something else, too. Whenever we have a VIP experience, you want to do it. I'll tell you the superstars that showed up for the VIP experience. You had Asuka show up. You had Buddy Murphy show up. And you had Seth freaking Rollins upstairs for the WWE VIP experience. You cannot pass up on it. You never know who's going to be there. Wow. And Seth did not disappoint.
Yeah, and the thing is, WrestleMania is what, Sunday? This Sunday coming up?
Wow.
And it's that close to the biggest event.
You know what else is really awesome, too, is the fact that they cut 2 awesome promos inside the Expo Center. The Seth Rollins promo against Brock Lesnar, cut in the Expo Center. The Drew promo, cut in the Expo Center. The 2 best promos that are blowing up on WWE were cut in Pikeville, Kentucky.
Yeah, that's humongous. It really is.
Huge. I get chills looking at it. Look at my arms. I got chills.
Well, listen,
that's awesome.
You did a great job. I think the Expo staff, everybody did a great job pulling that thing together. And it's great to see everybody coming out and having a great time at an event like that. So, we hope for bigger and better things down the road and even more wrestling to come.
The support we got for this one alone, we're going to get bigger stars. Yeah. That's what happens. You build it, it's going to keep getting bigger and bigger, and you will see bigger names. That's all you look at it.
Oh, yeah. And before we wrap this up, Josh, got some stuff coming up this weekend as well. I know you want to take some time to let everybody know what's going on
We got the City Rock Fest coming on April 7th. That's Sunday. Come out for that, 5:30. It's going to be a great show. It is actually a Christian rock show with metal involved. It's metal. I don't know how you even word it. It's metal Christian rock. Metal Christian rock.
No, that sounds right.
Bueller. Bueller. Yeah, it's metal Christian rock. Yes, I said that. I'd have to smack myself. Metal Christian rock. I don't know what I'm saying with that. That's crazy. Yeah. Then the next week, are you ready? We've got Hillbilly Days.
Oh my goodness.
We got Billy Days out here. We've got pigs dropping, and we got Travis Tritta singing, and a Marshall Tucker band singing, and a Cadillac 3 singing. Yeah, I said singing.
Ooh, yeah, and listen,
I'm in the mood.
If you haven't got tickets, I can't vouch for everybody on that bill, but I've seen the Cadillac 3 before.
Yes,
they're
phenomenal.
the openers, by the way. Put on a phenomenal show.
You will not be disappointed.
You definitely won't be disappointed in that. 3 great bands. You're going to get a lot of bang for your buck. Still tickets available, obviously. And all 3 days of the Hillbilly Days will be set up right out here in the plaza. Come over, have some food, watch some great music.
Delicious food from this guy right here.
We're going to do that. Yep. We're going to provide some great food and some great music.
You said that, we've not really introduced his new position here on the podcast yet. Kind of tell everybody what his new position is.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, introducing Wes, the executive chef.
Thank you. Yeah, listen. It's great to be part of the team over here at the East Kentucky Expo Center, and so far so good, man. We've got one event under my belt, so
get ready.
Seemed to go well, and listen, we're ready to dive headfirst right into this Hillbilly Days thing. Keep it moving.
going on 500.
Yep.
Here we go.
Yep, we're not going to stop. So we're going to keep going and get ready for these big events going down the road, and Hillbilly Days right around the corner. We're ready to ride that wave. So
Billy Days.
Looking forward to it. I guess we want to say thanks again to our sponsors, City Tire and Auto Center, which has moved. They're now at 110 Freddie Lane, and Dr. Shane Hensley at Downtown Dental in Pikeville.
Also, we got to say thanks to Presbyterian Homes of Cedar Creek and Good Shepherd at Phelps, and we also want to thank the City Tourism.
The City of Bible Tourism.
And Josh Kesler, Marketing Director at the East Kentucky Expo Center, for joining us today. And listen, guys, thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next week. We'll talk championship basketball, the Final Four, and some more 15th region baseball.
Michigan State, Michigan State, Michigan State, Michigan State.
Bank on it.
Yeah. Oh, that was all right. Check out this interview with Shelby Valley boys basketball coach Jim Hicks and one of his star players, Cody Potter.
Here with Shelby Valley's coach Jim Hicks. Hey, Coach, just kind of talk about the news coming out. You know, Cody getting selected to be in the junior All-Star game. I mean, how big of a deal this is to people who don't really know. I mean, you know, only a handful of kids in the state gets chosen to partake in this game. I mean, just talk about how big that is.
Oh, it's a huge honor to be selected on that, and you know, looking at geographics, you know, with Cody being the only kid east of I-75 that was selected was a big honor and very deserving.
Yeah, and just talk about the big year you all had as a team this past season. You know, get it to play on that All-A stage, get Cody out there, and he had the performances, you know, to make a name. How big is that for Cody going into next year, you know, to get in that Mr. Basketball conversation?
It's huge. You know, I've been saying this for even into last year, you know, to people about, you know, what a good player he is and what his potential is. And now people, you know, out in the state, when we got to the All-A state, and other people got to see him and talk about it. So that's really big. And going into senior year, you know, I mean, you know, me and Cody's talked a lot, and he knows that he's got some things. There's always room for improvement and things to improve on. But going into this right now, you know, he's one of the top 2 or 3 kids, you know, going in for Mr. Basketball next year.
Yeah, and as a coach, I mean, you've got to firsthand watch him grow from season to season, you know, from his freshman year to sophomore to this year. I mean, just talk about the growth in his game from when, you know, you first started coaching him to now. I mean, you know, I think everybody else can see the improvement, but you probably see it a little bit more than anybody else.
Oh yeah, I get tickled sometimes thinking about it, and even going back and to his first year here, you know, just you know, a long, lanky, 155, 160 pound kid that was a really good shooter. You know, he's always been a kid that even in middle school that was capable of knocking shots down, but his game's really grown. You know, he had some ups and downs his freshman year when teams really started to find out, you know who he was and that he was a good shooter, and then from his freshman to his sophomore year, you know, he improved his game and picked it up and got stronger and was doing some things off the dribble, and still didn't get to the free throw line near as much his sophomore year as he did this year. And then this year he's improved even more, and you know, to see the multiple defenses and the double teams and triple teams and always somebody, and still, you know, to put up good numbers. And what I tell people all the time, that the biggest thing that people miss about Cody's game is I've coached a lot of kids that were good shooters, and I've had a lot of kids that were, to be honest, that I've coached that were selfish players that didn't get their teammates involved. And Cody's not that way. Cody wants to win. Cody's a very unselfish player, and he will pass the ball. And I'm sure he can attest. There's times that I've actually got on to him because of passing the ball when I want him to shoot the ball. And but that's a tribute to him, and that he's willing to do what he has to do to help his team win, and he's a very unselfish player.
Yeah, talking about his passing, it seemed like we talked about that a lot this year, you know, especially in big games when, you know, he was on fire and then they started sending 2 and 3 guys at him. But one of the things, you know, that people overlook about his game as well, that I think, is his rebounding and his off-ball defense. I mean, as a coach, just talk about, you know, a kid who can go out there and get you 25 any given game, but also pull down 10 rebounds. You don't see that often.
No. You know, Cody, you know, is on track right now to be the school's all-time leading scorer, but also what people forget is he's on track to be the school's all-time leading rebounder, which is is a big thing. And you know, to be able to, you know, he averaged right at a double this year, and I expect that next year. You know, I expect a double next year. But he's led us in rebounding 3 years in a row, and you know, and this year he played more on the perimeter than he did the year before. So, and a lot of those are defensive boards too, and then defensively. You know, granted, he's got some things he knows he's got to improve on from the on the ball defense, but off the ball, you know, Cody's got a good understanding of the game. He's blocked a lot of shots, but defensively, you know, he's gotten better each year.
Yeah, and last thing, and I'll let you go. I mean, you know, the accolades at the end of the year rode in for Cody. You know, everybody knows what he can do. Just talk about, you know, as a coach, what you want to see him working on this off season to keep improving, to get on that Mr. Basketball, because, you know, even more attention is going to be brought to him by opposing defenses, everybody. I mean, he's still got, you know, some work to put in, I'm sure. I mean, just kind of talk about that as a coach, you know, where you want to see him by next season.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Cody's a great shooter. I mean, arguably, I mean, since I've been coaching, he's the best shooter I've coached and one of the best I've seen. But, you know, shooting's the hardest part of the game. You know, the ball's not always going to go into the hole. And it's nothing to do with his form. You know, Cody's got great form. And shooting can get to be a mental thing. You don't want to, you know, kid's got to keep shooting, but he's got to find different ways to score. So obviously, he's got to work on his ball handling. He's got to work on getting low. He's got to work on dribbling that ball off the floor harder and finding different ways to score and getting to the free throw line even more and more, because he's a great free throw shooter. You know, he shot 84% last year. I mean, no reason why he can't shoot above 90% this year as good as the shooters he is. And then once you get to the free throw line and once you see that ball go through the net, then, you know, that shot, you know, that rim gets bigger and bigger. But just finding different ways to score and not just rely on the three, and, you know, be able to go inside some and post up and get to the free throw line more and be able to get that ball and okay, we need a basket, let's clear out, let's go one-on-one, and be able to not just pull up and hit a three, but be able to get by a good defender and get to the rim.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach. Here with Shelby Valley's Cody Potter. Cody, I mean, you got selected to the junior all-star team. I mean, talk about how big as a player that is to be one of, you know, 5 or 10 juniors in the state getting to select to play that all-star game and represent your state.
It's huge. I'm really grateful, and I just give all the glory to God, and I'm just thankful to be a part of it. It's a big accolade, and I'm ready to represent Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, going into coming off your a great junior season where, you know, you had some big highlights. I mean, the All-A run that you had. I mean, just talk about, you know, as a whole this season, what that meant to you and how you grew as a player from, you know, beginning to the end of the season, because, I mean, you could see that growth every game. I mean, just kind of talk about that a little bit.
I think I grew a lot as a player this year. I learned how to lead a team a lot better and was more vocal, and I played a lot better defense this year, and we won a lot of games.
Yeah, and going into next season, you know, hearing the talk about Mr. Basketball, you know, all that stuff is in the air. That's got to be a bit distracting. As a player, how do you kind of just shove that out of the way and just work on your game and do what you need to do to keep improving?
I'm thankful everyone thinks that stuff about me, but I really just lay my ears back and work, and I just get to myself and just work on my game.
Yeah, and you know, it seems like, you know, when you go out in the game and you knock that first shot down or first 2 or 3, you get a little. What does that do for you as a player when you see that ball go in the first couple of times? Because it seems like once you get in a rhythm, I mean, you can pull up for pretty much anywhere on the floor and knock shots down. You know, as a player, just talk about getting in that rhythm and how hard that is, knowing that everybody wants to take you out of that rhythm before you even get started.
It's tough to get started sometimes with the defenses I see, but as soon as I see that first one go in, I know it's over.
Yeah, and you know, just kind of talk about the season you all had up here, 28 wins as a team. I mean, you know, every year that you've been a player, it seems like this team gets better and better. I mean, just kind of talk about this season, 28 wins, go to the All-A. You're right there with, you know, the eventual champs UHA. I mean, you know, a great season. Just kind of talk about the season in general a little bit.
This season was definitely the funnest I've ever had. We played really good together. We had great chemistry. I loved all my teammates, and But next year, I think we're going to be even better. It's scary.
Yeah, and you know, everybody kind of talks about you as a scorer and a shooter, but that's not all your game. I mean, you block shots, you rebound, you pass. I mean, kind of just, you know, doing those other things that sometimes get overlooked because of your ability to shoot the ball. I mean, you know, because sometimes once you see, you know, 8, 9, 10 threes go in a game, you know, that kind of, you know, dwarfs everything else that you're doing on the court. But, you know, just talk about how important it is, you know, that you're a complete player and how much work you put in on that other aspects of your game.
I put in work in every aspect of the game, and I know people guard me and just think I'm going to shoot it every time, but I love getting my teammates the ball and watching them score. It's like one of the best feelings.
Yeah, and last thing, and I'll let you go. I mean, just talk about this summer. I know, you know, you probably got a busy schedule ahead of you this summer playing and all that. Just kind of talk about this summer and what that does. You know, a lot of people don't know the work that you know, you as athletes put into the off summer to get ready for the season. I mean, just kind of talk about, you know, some of the things you got coming up this summer and how you use that to prepare for next season.
I play AAU for the Tennessee Bobcats, and that's tough. That's a lot different than playing here. And just hit the weights, get up shots, and just work.
All right. Thanks a lot. Shelby Valley's Cody Potter, Bank on a Podcast.
Thank you.